Good morning and welcome to Google Hangout session on air, where we today are going to talk about automation. I'm your host today. I'm Morten. I work as an account manager in the Northern Europe team. And today with me, I brought Phil, who is our search specialist in Northern Europe. Good to have you with us on board today, Phil. How's your weekend?
Me. Very good, yeah. Good. It was a lovely day yesterday, so went out for a bike ride.
Yes, the weather was indeed lovely in Ireland for once. It was not very good weather on Saturday though, so not possible to go for a bike ride there. Phil, great to have you on board. Just before we start out with the session, would you mind just briefly telling us about what you do?
Yeah. So I'm a search specialist in Google. I work with large customers to optimize performance on search specifically, and also inform them on the latest and greatest on new features we have in Google Ads.
Great. So you're exactly the right person for automation for today. So as you guys know, this is the third out of 5 YouTube live sessions that we're running over 10 weeks. The purpose of the sessions is to give you insights to how you can actually transform a Google Ads account with a multi-funnel strategy. And the structure for today would be that the first 30 minutes, Phil will take us through automation. It's a lot to cover in a short time, so please bear with us if we go a little bit fast. We will share the recording afterwards, and we'll share the presentation with you afterwards. If you're not watching the live session, the live stream, please be aware that we are not going to record the questions in the end. We've already received a lot of questions from you guys, and thank you so much for sending them through. If you haven't had the chance to send in your questions, know that you can post them in the YouTube window. But please refrain from asking any sensitive questions regarding your business, and know that your name will be published to everyone. If you have a sensitive questions that you would like to address, please reach out to your Google POC. And that is pretty much the practical information here. So from the practical information, over to you, Phil, about automation.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, guys, so I'm going to talk to you about automation in search today, how to make the most out of the latest automated features for the creators, and how we can use bidding and automated bidding in that. So first, I'll talk a little bit on why we should automate and where it comes from. And how we can use it in Google, where it's present in let's say, Google Ads. Then I'll talk a little bit more about ads and formats, about the creative excellence piece. We also have targeting, like the automated targeting with dynamic search ads. And I'll touch a bit on smart bidding, how it works and how you can use it in the best possible way. And then I'll do a recap. So first, let's start with the user, right? The user today has a lot of signals. There's a lot of devices that the user can have, a desktop, a tablet, a mobile phone. It can be in the train, it can be in the shop, it can be at home, everywhere. And how do we actually deal with all those signals? So what gets more and more important is to be there for the user at the right time with the right message, at the right moment to actually capture them and attract them to your business. And that becomes more and more important. So we need to take care of the identity of the user, what the context is, and what the intent of the user is, which may differ in the early morning or late in the evening. So yeah, actually to win in search, it's harder than ever. To win the auction, it really matters that you understand the context and play towards the context and intent of the user. And then we have a lot of data. Looking back to how it was in the past, we had only, let's say, maybe desktop and internet at home. And now we have internet everywhere in the country, and it's easily accessible, and 24 hours. So yeah, we have more data signals and we need to use that. And how do we do that with Google? The 4 main areas where we use kind of all the signals and automation, and what we refer to often is machine learning. And we have machine learning in bidding, in creatives, in targeting, and in attribution. And interesting to know is that creative is the last part of Google, let's say, that has in machine learning introduced. And some of you might have heard it already. It's like responsive search ads, but I'll dig into that deeper a little bit later. But first, the ads and formats. So to win in auctions, we need to be creative excellence, let's say. But I'm going to explain you now a little bit more on what creative excellence is and where it comes from. So where we've been, where we are, and where we're going with new automated ad formats. So for those who don't know, creative excellence is a combination of having more than 3 ads per ad group. It's very important here that the ads are different and they vary with different call to actions, different unique selling points, really to sync and use the context of the search query. Then have optimized ad rotation to allow your ads to enter the auction. The best performing ad with the best click uplift will enter the auction, and then having more than 3 extensions, the more the better, to increase your CTR and make the ad bigger and more useful and tailored to the user. Then, if you look at the searches nowadays with all the devices, there are 3.5 billion searches happening on Google each day, so that's a lot. So there's a lot of there. Then the search, they happen on different devices, different location, at different time of the day, and each search has a different objective. So it might be more information seeking in the morning, but actually buying in the late afternoon, or preparing for the next day in the evening. So the context is really important here. But also every person that searches is unique, and each ad can be tailored to a different person. So what we're solving here with creative excellence is essentially ad rank. First, we prove the ad quality with increasing the expected CTR, the ad relevance, and the landing page experience. Then secondly, you would have a bid and expected impact of ad extensions and formats that determine the ad rank. So this is a very important slide because eventually you're trying to solve for ad rank and to improve that. But we really need to take care of the context of the query. And for those wondering, the ad rank is different for each and every auction, but in an average, we need to improve it. So how do we create an ad that will perform the best every time? Well, as mentioned, there are different users, and we might, back in the day, some people would have 1 or 2 ads, but they would only serve to 3 people or just an X amount of people. Well, by having more ads, you'll be more compelling to more users, and you'll be able to have more impressions because your ad rank is higher. So you will enter new auctions. So just by creating more ads, you can enter more auctions. But also next to that, you can tailor for the content and the context of the user. So previously with 1 ad, for example, your query matching to the keyword and the relevance is up to, let's say, 60%, but by having more ads, you would have like 85%. Now, if you were to think, okay, I need to write more ads, it's going to cost me a lot of time, how many ads do I have to write? Then you should think about, okay, the sweet spot would be around 6 to 7, 5 to 6 ads per ad group, but we advise a minimum as it's just a base standard 3, but it increases afterwards. Then to show the right message to the right person, looking at the context and what the person's intent is, essentially, we advise to use ad rotation, optimized ad rotation, and that will ensure that you will have a 50% increase in clicks, up to 50%, because the ads are more tailored. Then for those who want to say, okay, maybe I don't have it, or I want to do a cross-check in my account if I actually have ad rotation activated, this is an easy way to do it at scale per account. You first go to the search campaigns, then go to settings. Then you can tick the box on all the search campaigns. Then you click on edit, change ad rotation. Then you get the field optimize, prefer best performing ads, and then you click apply, and you're sorted for that account. So that's an action to take away as per the best practice.
Phil, a quick question here. Would it ever make sense not to optimize towards best performing ads?
No, it's not something advice. Sometimes I get the question, okay, but what about exact match? Even though exact match, there will be an increase if you create more ads and have optimized ad rotation. It might be slightly a little bit lower than it would be broad trend modify or broad match, because the search terms are broader than. So it's really about tailoring there. And then if you might use third-party toolings, that's why I also ask, okay, why does the rotate indefinitely feature still exist?
Yeah.
It would be for third-party tools and APIs that actually do not recognize the ads in the system of AdWords because of Google Ads, because it's not sent through the API. And it's only used for ad copy testing.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So if you're not doing any ad copy testing, then I would advise just to have as a standard optimized ad rotation. Now, I'll go into deeper a little bit later on ad copy testing with ad variations. But to summarize, more ads plus optimized ad rotation is an optimal combination. to have the best performing ad for the right user, to improve the amount of impressions you get in absolute values and the more clicks to get more visitors to your website, which can result in more conversions. So that's the creative excellence piece. Now, some people say, oh, I'm going to evaluate my ads based on their performance and everything, but that's not necessary anymore. What we advise now is to look on an ad group level performance, looking at the absolute impressions, clicks, and conversions increase, not the click-through rate over relative metrics or relative metrics of specific ads. So do look at ad group level. Main factors here to look after is impressions increase, clicks increase, and conversions. And success is actually determined by the increase in number of queries for which an ad from the ad group is eligible to be shown. So the more impressions means that you actually want more auctions to be shown, which potentially can get you more visitors and conversions. That's recapping on the creative sides. Now, if we look at 2018, what's been happening in Google Ads interface or just in general is we're looking for more simplicity, a little bit more control with the use of machine learning and increase in performance. So how are we helping you guys as advertisers with this to perform in the best possible way with Google Ads and in the auctions? We have 3 automated features in ads coming, or it's already launched in ad suggestions, responsive search ads, and automated extensions. Then to dig a little bit deeper in ad suggestions is an opt-out feature, let's say, and it is creating ads based on your existing content in your current account. So then the machine learning goes and say, oh, where do I need to add an additional ad? And we're going to vary specific headlines and content of existing ads, and we're going to surface them in the recommendations tab. Then after 14 days, it will automatically be applied. Only in those ad groups where we will see a click uplift of 5 to 15% maximum.
What does,
in general.
Phil, just so everybody is with us, what does opt-out feature mean?
Opt-out feature would mean that you can say, okay, I don't want to have ad suggestions featured in my account. Because it's after 40 days, it's automatically applied in the ad groups. However, what I want to advise here is rather than opting out, if you see that an ad is not the one you'd like to have in an ad group, you can dismiss it. And by that, the machine will actually learn by you giving your feedback to improve the content. And machine learning can only learn with input from humans. So there's actually also a combination of human review and machine learning before they surface in the recommendations tab. I would advise to dismiss rather than opt out, but it's an easy way to improve your account performance. Automatic.
And I would say, like in general, from my perspective, with working with my clients, that we have seen really good results from these recommendations, and the ads are highly professional.
Thanks. Yeah, just drinking a bit of water.
That's all right.
Perfect. So that's ad suggestions. Then we have responsive search ads. And well, looking back at the story I told you earlier, having 3 or more ads per ad group, responsive search ads is going to solve for that, because we're asking you to write different variations of ads, the more different call to actions, unique selling points and everything. And a responsive search ad you can have up to 15 headlines and a description lines, which will automatically mix and match the best possible combination for that specific user and that specific auction to increase the ad rank. But it's a semi-automated feature because you give the content, you decide what's being shown, and there's the pinning feature, which is very relevant for some client with some guidelines on ads. For example, the finance industry always needs to have a disclaimer, okay, if you borrow money, it costs money. So you can pin that in the first headline or second headline. Then there is a third headline and a second description now in Google Ads. They're not always guaranteed to show. So just be aware of that. Reason being is that on some devices there is space and some there isn't. And sometimes it's relevant to show the third headline for that particular user, and sometimes it isn't. Using the machine learning and projecting, the forecasting, the uplift in performance. So that's covered. Then, okay, how can we be more creative with ads and be more tailored to the users? There are a few solutions next to just having standard expanded text ad written. It would be ad customizers, is where you can give a specific section in the ad an automated feature showing content based on a feed. You have if functions, so that this would be for if on mobile, show this message, if on desktop, show the other message. If an audience list A, show this message, otherwise show that message. So for example, if somebody is on mobile, it might be more likely that they're around in the store. So hey, visit our store. Otherwise, if they are on desktop, order online. You can think of those variations to just have more variations in the ads as mentioned earlier. Then we have keyword insertion that automatically triggers the search query in your ad. That will also definitely increase the ad relevance. And countdown feature, if you have a sale going on, think about Black Friday starting or Cyber Monday. If you have a promotion that's ending soon, you can have a countdown feature in your ad. This all is triggered by having the accolade in your ad, and then you can see the options: keyword insertion, countdown, ad customize, and if function. If you'd like to know more about it, there's beautiful help center articles, or reach out to your Google point of contact. Just a little bit on ad copy testing. A lot of people think, oh, I need to use Rotate indefinitely for my ad copy testing. But the best way to do it now is quite a relatively new feature in the AdWords new AdWords interface that maybe not everybody has seen so far. Is ad variations. You can select a specific ad, make a variation of that ad based on the headline or the description or the path, different call to action or unique selling point, and then for each query, the ad will show for query 1, the ad A will be shown, for query 2 ad B will be shown, and for query 3 ad A will be shown. So it's one after the other. So it's really just very specific in the way it's being shown. Now the beauty of this is that once you want to analyze it, okay, which ad has performed better, we even give you statistics, even with significant results. So you can see the exact impression uplift, the click uplift, and you can use it for reporting. Often this is also used if you want to test a unique selling point for offline or other Google media, best practices. What works best. So the ad variations is a tool to go for really ad copy testing. Then I'd like to go over to the dynamic search ads, the automated way for targeting. So for those who don't know dynamic search ads or DSA campaigns, 50% of the searches is actually new every day. So websites are actually getting more extensive and longer, more content is being created. And with smartphones, we also have voice search that actually creates additional search moments, but also very long tail search queries normally. And when you select a set of keywords, normally it's like 2 or 3 keywords. So DSA can actually cover for long tail and more advanced queries that you aren't showing for. So DSA helps for you to capture relevant moments. It's actually using the organic crawling technology. So it goes over your website and looks for specific keywords that match the search query, and it will allow your ad to be shown. Some people say, but I'll actually get to that later, on the exact match keyword. If you use a query is relevant to the content on your site, but there is no exact match keyword, the DSA will enter the auction. But if there's an exact match keyword, it will automatically withdraw from that specific particular auction. And then DSA will customize the headlines, but the description is something you can still give. And also there, it's more advised to have variations in the description. Talking about dynamic search ads with the headline, it's not that they're creating new content. It's all based on the content from your website. So if your website is perfectly in order, then it will appear and it will be relevant and useful for your DSA ad. So there are 4 key benefits to use dynamic search ads. Firstly, would be that if you use dynamic searches, you enter more auctions. So on average, 86% of a DSA campaign would be incremental traffic. It's efficient because you don't have to create all the ads and ad groups because it can just run automatically. You will cover all the queries that are relevant for your website. And then there is transparency and control, because some say, oh, DSA might be a black box, but you can actually look into the query report and see on which search terms you're being shown with an ad. And you can also exclude specific or irrelevant landing pages, such as a blog that is not converting directly, for example. Now, DSA is an automated feature, but it also works best when you give it more signals and when it's used with automated bidding, in particular target CPA and target ROAS.
If we go back and look at the audience piece, can you tell us what SAS stands for?
Thank you very much. Yeah. So SAS would be similar audiences on search. It's based on your current remarketing list. It will look, okay, what are similar users out there that haven't visited your website yet, and then they will be surfaced your ad if it's relevant and they're searching for a specific query.
And generally speaking, remarketing for search versus similar audiences, how is the performance to your?
Yeah, so the remarketing for search, people have already visited your website, so that would be a little bit better. However, with remarketing lists, you can create a funnel. So even if you don't use similar audiences yet, I would start with the lower funnel of your remarketing list. So people that have visited the basket, or that have converted or visited the checkout page. And then the machine learning will create and go look for people that have similar behaviors on Google search, and will identify them. Okay, they're similar to this because they visited similar websites, they have similar searches.
So it's a good way to prospect new customers, basically.
Yeah, it's a way to prospect new customers that are related to the ones that have visited your website already.
Cool.
Yeah. Interesting to know is that smart bidding can even take into consideration if they are in a remarketing list or in a similar audiences list, or in your first-party data, the customer match list. So yeah, it's very, very advanced.
And does that then mean that I don't have to add any bid modifications on my lists? Or
yeah, you don't have to do that with the advanced bidding solutions, but if you're using semi-advanced bidding solutions, such as ECPC, you still have to.
Okay.
Yeah. But with target ROAS, it will completely calculate for that. Yeah.
Cool.
And there's also a way, if somebody's in my remarketing list, can it also appear in my similar audiences list? And that's not the case. It will automatically deduplicate those users, and it will be featured in the most recent list. So the visitor that's most recent will be featured in that list. Yeah. So then let's talk about the setup for a DSA campaign. It can be very controlled, or it can be very global, or let's say holistic. We have URL is, page feeds, a landing page from ad groups, categories, and all website pages. So on the right side, you would have the better read, so it's very broad, but on the left side, it would be very controlled. Now, what would be the good? URL is would give you a lot of control. It can limit the amount of traffic going through your dynamic search ads campaign. Page feed is a flexible and customizable for large sites, so you can feature all your URLs and put them in the feed, and then you can say to that DSA campaign, use my URLs from that specific feed. So you can actually segment which URLs you want to promote. It would be interesting to see, okay, what am I promoting on a shopping campaign? Now let's duplicate that to a page feed, so you have shopping ads and text ads together. Just to continue, then you have landing pages and ad groups, categories, and website pages. That's more advanced. Recently, we have launched that you can actually use the DSA feature also in your actual search campaign. So before it was only used in a separate DSA campaign, and now you can create hybrid campaigns, which brings us to an observation or conclusion that we can actually use the DSA feature as an additional match type. If your exact match is not getting a query, your broad match not, your phrase match not, then you can actually end up with having a DSA ad group for that specific product or category, and then you can still show if there's a query relevant to that product or category. So could be a catch, not necessarily catch all, but an additional targeting in your ad group. So before we would have separate campaigns, search campaigns and dynamic campaigns, and now we can actually have them integrated, and we could call it a hybrid campaign. Now, so a lot of people ask me, okay, but what about exact match? Because I really specifically make an ad for that exact match and it's tailored and I know how that works the best. Well, for those who are worried in that sense, the DSA campaign will never be shown when there's an exact match in the account. It will automatically withdraw from the auction unless that campaign with the exact match is budget constrained. So it's limited by budget or doesn't have budget anymore. The quality score is very low. Then the dynamic search ads will actually result in a higher quality score and a better, let's say, lower CPC, better ad rank. And if it's passed, an ad group is passed, or for that specific exact match. So the better your keywords perform in exact match, it will not show to the dynamic search ads. If, however, you really don't want even that fallback option to happen, then you first of all will lose that search query. But second, if that's your choice, then you can exclude the exact match from your dynamic search ad group or campaign. So first it will look, is there a broad phrase or exact match? If not, then it will go as a fallback option to the dynamic search ads when you're using hybrid campaigns. Although even on an account level, if you have a separate dynamic search ad campaign, it will also account for that. So how to optimize dynamic search ads? Have 3 ads per ad group, use all relevant extensions, check if the website coverage is enough. You can check the search query report if you're showing on the relevant queries for your business, otherwise you can exclude that. Also for the website here is very important, so use the best practices of search engine optimization. Then let's briefly touch on bidding, how that can help. We have different solutions for bidding, for visibility, website clicks, conversions, and revenue. A few new highlights here, that has been launched in beta, would be target impression share, to ensure you have like a 90% impression share all the time. For eCPC for value, the normal eCPC would ensure you have more conversions. And the eCPC for value would not only look at the number of conversions, but also are those giving you more basket value, let's say. And then we have the most advanced smart bidding, full automated smart bidding, which we would advise because that's actually the solution to save you time, would be target cost per acquisition, target CPA, and target ROAS. Target CPA would also give you like conversions at a set cost per acquisition. There can be a variance of 20 to 30%. Note here that if you're using mobile bid adjustment, for example, it's not counted for, so your actual target CPA can be higher if you have mobile bid adjustments. With target ROAS, we will ensure that you have like more value in your basket, so you have more return on investment. In general, we see that eCPC can increase your conversion rate with 70%, so more conversions than manual CPC at a similar cost per acquisition. So just by enabling eCPC in your account, you can have more conversions, up to 7%. Then even for target CPA, you can have more than 31% of conversions with versus manual CPC at a similar cost per acquisition. Now, if we go a little bit more into advanced smart bidding, or we use machine learning. So we use all the signals available and predict if somebody's going to convert or not. Then there is continuously, we are optimizing the bids on each and every search auction for every query, not keyword, but query, so the actual search term. And then we have Google, we have a lot of unique signals. Think about what's happening in YouTube, Google Maps and everything where people are. And then we use that in our machine learning algorithms to help you perform better in search. As mentioned, we bid on query level. That's very unique because only we can do that. Then also we bid real time. So it's true auction time optimization. So sometimes if it's 7 p.m. in London, using a desktop, we bid a bit lower because it's expected, and we've seen that for those queries in general across all the campaigns and accounts in Google Ads, it's not performing. So for you, we bid lower. But in some accounts where we see somebody searching at 4 p.m. for a Nexus on a Firefox browser, for example, using all the signals, then we put a higher bid because we know, based on previous performance, let's say, that it's going to convert. So that's very relevant. So yeah, Ads Smart Bidding has some unique features. Would be on one side the geolocation, the device, time, and remarketing list, where you can already bid on yourself, but you cannot bid increase or decrease your bids based on the language browser, operation system, the actual ad format, or if it's on Search Partners or Google Search directly, and on the search query. So those are the exclusive signals of Ads Smart Bidding. Bidding on every auction differently. Now, if you dig a little bit deeper into Target CPA, it actually predicts the conversion rates, looks at the search query level performance across your account. Then it puts in your bid, and then it looks at, okay, what's the actual cost per acquisition? So is that bid the correct one? If we compare that to Target ROAS, it will not only predict the conversion rate, but it also will predict the conversion value. And recently, I think last year, we introduced that we also can do it now per click. So it means actually per search query and per click, if somebody's spending more on your website or not.
And Phil, like, what does it require to use Target ROAS?
Yeah, it's a good one. What's required to opt in, let's say, for Target ROAS or Target CPA would be to have an X amount of conversions. And the reason being is, so X amount would be for Target ROAS would be minimum of 15 to opt in, but we do recommend 50. So 15 to opt in the campaign, but 50 to actually have the best performance of Target ROAS. And then, yeah, the more conversion you have, the better it will perform. The reason being because you're giving the system a lot of signals, and it can actually compile a framework on, okay, who has converted in the past? Do those people actually look similar? And then we know, okay, this is more likely to convert, yes or no.
And that will be 15 conversions within what time frame?
Yeah, thank you. The last 30 days.
The last 30 days, okay. And I guess you also need to feed in your own prices to the Google system in order for us to bid, or?
Yeah, that's true. So if you have a conversion, give it a value. Yeah. And once it has a value, and if it's included in the conversion column, then Target ROAS can work, and it will start bidding on those conversions in the conversion volume column.
Perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, with smart bidding, I would say we can be a little bit more simplistic in the structure, but give it as much signals as possible, because that's how the machine learning learns and improves itself. Just to have a small sideway on foundations for automation, and I can explain this in a very small story, is that, let's say smart bidding is a robot and it's going to search for a lot of conversions. If you have smart bidding activated on a campaign with only exact match, it can not really search for those extra conversions because it's limited in a specific box, right? So the more you open up your search campaigns for smart bidding using broad match modify or even broad match, because it's learning on a query level, it can go and search for those additional conversions for you. And then also give it as much signals as possible. Applying all the audiences you have available on your campaigns. Use data-driven attribution to account for the path and everything. So it's not only, so I'm going to apply smart bidding on my campaign and it should work. Yes, it will work better, but it will even work more or even better if you give it a lot of signals and open the count up for for additional queries and conversions, especially with target, especially with dynamic search ads, because it's open for all possible queries in on the web related to your landing page. Those target CPA and target ROAS can account for that on a query level, so give you better performance with smart bidding anyway. So whoever has a dynamic searches campaign with manual bidding, you actually don't know what you're bidding on a query level. So my advice would be strongly to, if you have the conversion volume from 15 onwards, to activate target CPA or target ROAS. Just small story here is that previously you would have one campaign for a keyword, and then duplicate that one for mobile devices, and then duplicate that for specific locations. But smart bidding can, and automation can actually account for that now. So it's not necessary anymore to be so specific in your account structure, so you can be less restricted, let's say. So that's the story I've already told. So you could think about having one search campaign with all the ad groups and campaigns have audiences applied. Then you have keywords all together in an ad group, and then dynamic search ads, the hybrid campaign version. And then you have 3 ads with either ad customizer or if functions, and then all the extensions, and then using either conversion-based smart bidding or vision or impression-based smart bidding, position-based bid strategy for awareness and consideration. Just to conclude, there are many benefits to an account structure designed to greater automation. I think, do we have time for responsive search ads?
Yeah, we can take a few minutes. Yeah.
So the latest and greatest around Google Ads is the responsive search ads feature. You can select multiple headlines and multiple descriptions, up to 15 and up to 4. And I've put here a number, 815. What do you think this represents, Morten?
Oh, that's a good question. Is it how many combinations that will come? Yes, from responsive search ads.
Yeah, so if you avail of all the possible spaces in responsive search ads, you can have up to 850 different variations and combinations of that responsive search ads, which allows you not having to write different variations specifically, but responsive search ads will do that for you. So first would be write three headlines and 2 description lines, then add another 3 headlines and 1 description line, so the machine can actually really mix and match and do its work. And then finally can add different variations again. So give as much content possible and avail of all the features. The minimum requirement, I would say, would be 5 headlines and 2 description lines, so the machine can actually really do its work. Some people, they think, I'm going to use responsive search ads and have 3 headlines and then I'll pin them. But then I think, but then you have like a Porsche Cayenne in your garage and you're not driving it, So have the system do its work and allow it to do its work also. Here's some best practices. So provide as many assets as possible. Test both either with long headlines and short headlines. Sometimes for branded queries, the short ones will work better. Create a minimum of 5 headlines per RSA. Brand ad group tend to perform better with shorter ad headlines, as mentioned. And if you want to test if RSA is giving you an uplift in performance on an ad group level, you can use drafts and experiments with it, with having 2 or 3 ads in one ad group, and then 2 or 3 ads or 3 ads in the other ad group with and responsive search ads, and it should increase to 5 to 50% in impressions and clicks. So focus on ad group performance. On average, more ads per ad group may improve your overall ad group metrics. CTR of some ads may be lower than others, but it's most important to review ad group performance. To see if you wrote a qualitatively good responsive search ads and avail of all the best practices, we are introducing ad strength. It's essentially a feature in the interface that will show if you have a good, excellent, or poor ad. And you can also see this in the column in the interface if you're looking at your ad overview and the metrics. If you think about reporting of responsive search ads, focus on ad group level, but then you can actually see there's the same ad. You can see the metrics on impression, cost, and clicks and conversions. But in a few asset details, you can actually also see what the amount of impressions were, and actually the combinations report, or which combinations we made, and how many impressions they got. So yeah, that was the presentation around automation, specifically on creatives and the new features there, talking a bit about dynamic search ads, how you can avail of that, and also how smart bidding can help you to perform better on search.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Phil. And yeah, thanks for a great presentation. So here, the last 12 minutes, we're going to go into questions from you guys. Just so you know, if you're not watching the live stream right now, please know that we are going to cut the recording now. Thank you so much, Phil, for taking the time out today. I know you're super busy. And if you have any further questions, don't hesitate to reach out to your Google POC, and they can help you moving forward. So have a nice week ahead, and thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Good luck.